Welcome to our last critical thinking section, and this is all about problem solving, which means, yes, your favorite word problems. We're going to look at first Polya's 4 steps of problem solving. 1, understand the problem. Now, you might have to read the problem several times. It's normal. That's okay. If you read a word problem and you're like, whoa, I don't get that, that's okay. You might have to read it a few times. All right. And then what I suggest is write the information that is given. Like, what do you know? So you read the problem. What information are you given? And then figure out number 2, which is devise your plan. So you read the problem, you wrote down information that you're told that you're given, write the facts. Now come up with a plan. In other words, how will you solve the problem? Maybe you need to make a table. Maybe you need to make a graph. Maybe it's trial and error. Maybe it's an equation. There's so many different ways to solve a problem. That's number 2, is how are you going to do it? Number 3, carry out the plan and solve the problem. So whatever you figured out you need to do for number 2, 3 is the action part. It's when you're actually going to review it, right? Solve it. Now, the last step, look back and check your answer. You can always check your answer. That's what I love about math, so you know if you got it right. But here's something else I want you to check on. The answer should make sense. I put that there because I've had sometimes in class we're working on a problem and a student might get the answer, but then when we look back, the answer doesn't quite make sense. Not with that problem. So always make sure that makes sense. All right, so those are your steps to solving a problem. Now let's just jump right into an example. Actually, this one is, we're actually not going to solve anything on this one. It's which necessary piece of information is missing and basically prevents you from solving the problem. So you're given this. A man purchased 5 shirts, each at the same discount price. How much did he pay for them? Well, we know he bought 5 shirts. That's what I know. But how can I figure how much he paid for them? What am I missing from this problem? We're missing, how much he paid for each shirt. That would be missing. So you can't even come up with a solution here until we find out what was the discount price he paid. And then from there, we can go ahead and calculate. That's all we have to do for that one. Now let's go to this one. Number 2. First, it's saying which piece of information given is unnecessary to solve the problem. And that's life. Sometimes you're given a problem that, well, you don't really need some of the information to solve it. But let's look at this problem here. It says a roll of easy white paper towels contains 100 sheets and costs $1.38. A comparable brand, Quick Clean, contains 5 dozen sheets per roll and costs $1.23. If you need 3 rolls of paper towels, which brand is the better value? Well, we're looking at, we know how many sheets and we know how much that costs. That's going to help us with our calculation. What don't we really need to know? We don't really need to know how many rolls we're purchasing. That doesn't matter because that's not going to give us what we were looking to look for. So in this particular problem, the best thing to do, and I've done these things before, especially if we're looking at, there's cereals and paper towels, toilet papers, all these different things you get at a store. What we want to look at is the price per sheet. That's what we want to look at because we're given the price for 100 sheets. But to know if it's a good value, which one is the better value, you want to find out the price per sheet. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take the price per roll and divide that by the number of sheets. That's going to be our formula. So we're going to look at the price per roll divided by the number of sheets. All right, well, let's see. We've got 2 brands. We'll start with the Easy brand. We know that the price per roll is $1.38. Okay? And the number of sheets that comes in one roll is 100. That's what we're going to take, $1.38 divided by 100. And by the way, when we're working with money, you're always going to round to the nearest cent. So in this case, when you divide 138 by 100, if you were to round to the nearest cent, that's going to be 0.01 or 1 cent per sheet. That's what we just calculated. So you're paying 1 cent per sheet, roughly. Now we had another one. We'll just call it quick because I don't want to write it all. Price is $1.23. And this one, it says, oh, be careful. Go back up there. It says 5 dozen sheets. How many sheets is that altogether? 5 dozen, that would be 12 times 5, 60 sheets. You don't want to put 5 because we want the number of sheets. So be careful with the wording when you do these problems. Now we're going to take $1.23 divided by 60, and again, round to the nearest cent, the nearest penny, and you should get 2 cents per sheet. Looking back, which one is going to be the better value? Well, it's the one where you're only paying 1 cent per sheet, so that would be the Easy white paper towels. So that would be the better deal because we figured out how much it was per sheet. You always want to look at per 1 unit. Now, with some problems, there might be more than one answer. And sometimes it's just trial and error, figuring things out. Let's look at this one. It says tickets for a fundraiser event were priced at $10 for 10 children, for children, and $20 for adults. Shauna worked the first shift at the box office, selling a total of $130 worth of tickets. However, she did not keep a careful count of each type of ticket that was sold. So how many each type of tickets could she have sold? Now, so here's the thing. We don't know. We don't know the answer. However, there are multiple solutions. And let me just show you how you would go through to figure that out. And we'll just do a few because you could keep going for a while. Let's say she sold 1 child ticket, because remember, we don't know how many she sold because she didn't keep track. So what we want to do is just figure out what it could have been. So if she sold 1 child ticket is $10. Then that means out of her total, she sold 1 child ticket, which leaves us with $120 left. Well, how much were the adult tickets? Well, I'm going to go back up here. Adult tickets were $20. Well, now I'm going to divide this by 20. Okay, so I'm going to take 120 divided by 20, and that gives me 6. What that means is she would have sold, so if she sold 1 child ticket, she would have sold 6 adult tickets. What if she sold 2? We'll put children tickets, or I guess I could have put child tickets. Well, then that would be 130. Take away, well, 2 tickets. That's 2 times 10. That would be $20. That gives me 110. Now you divide by 20, and that gives me 5.5. Ooh, what does that mean? Well, you can't sell half a ticket. What this tells me is that it is not possible that she sold 2 children tickets. So we know right there that that was not a possibility. And you could keep doing this. I'll do one more. What if she sold 3 child tickets? Well, that would be 130 minus 10 times 3, so $30, that gives me $100. All right, we divide by 20, and that gives me 5. Right now, we found 2 possibilities. One child ticket with 6 adults, or 3 child tickets with 5 adults, and you could keep going until you've maxed out the 130 total. But that's how you would do it. This is where you have more than one solution because maybe you're missing some information, and so you're just showing some of the possible combinations. Now, here are 2 problems. I'm going to have problems during my videos where I'm asking you to try first. That's when I would recommend that you pause the video because I'm just going to go right into it. So if you want to try these 2 problems on your own, go ahead and pause the video and work on these problems. All right, so if you did that, or you just don't want to wait and you want to get to the answer, we're going to work on this now. So let's see how you did. Which is the better value? 15.3 ounce box of cereal for $3.37 or a 24 ounce box of cereal for $4.59? Well, this is what we're doing just like we did before. We want to find, remember before we were finding the price per sheet? Well, in this case, we're given it in terms of ounces, so we will find the price per ounce. All right, well, we have 2 cereal boxes, so I'm going to put A, right, and B. Cereal A is the first one. That's going to be the price over the ounces. And this is going to give me the price per ounce. I'll just put my $sign there. Rounded to the nearest cent, you should get about 22 cents per ounce. Now we go to B. So for B, now to stick to that, we want that price, which is $4.59, and we're going to divide that by 24, and that price per ounce would be 19 cents per ounce. When we look at that, which one is the better deal? Option B. So the cereal, I would say the 24, right, ounce box is the better deal because it's 19 cents per ounce instead of 22 cents per ounce. Last problem. By paying $100 cash up front and the balance at $20 a week, how long will it take to pay for a bicycle that costs $680? This is one of those problems where I say, write down what's given. We know the cost of the bicycle is $680. We also know that the amount paid in cash, I'll just put amount paid, was $100. And then we have weekly payments of $20. This is what I like to do. I like to write down everything given so I can figure out what to do with these numbers to get to my solution. So here it says he paid $100 up front. Okay. 680 minus 100 means that what is left owed is $580. Now, we also know that we're doing weekly payments, of $20. So we're going to take the 580, divide that by 20, because that's going to tell us how many weeks. And if we're rounding to the nearest week, it should take about 29 weeks to pay off the bike, which is just over, I guess just over 6 months. And that is it for the rest of this, for this section, your last section of the critical thinking chapter.